time is it?
7:04. Is the vehicle on?
She has tickets.
Oh. Okay,
That's
so
going around.
I don't want to be annoying, but we do appreciate it if you're not going to be able to attend,
Sounds
to
like
let us know so that we don't wait for you. Right. In any event, so two regular members are not here tonight. Matt has asked that, Fred sit in this place, and that's all that's necessary. But I'll entertain a motion from somebody to seat Diane in, on this place. So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're seated. The first item is the approval of the December 17 minutes. And before I ask for a motion, we can talk after that. But before that, more informally, does anybody have any comments or corrections?
I had none written first.
Okay.
Make a motion that the December 17th meeting minutes be approved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? So I have this question on page 3. Well, on the bottom of page 4, Michelle, you indicate the motion was made by Mr. Russell to add the Rogers Lake Authority request to the agenda. And that's fine. But then on the next page, the discussion begins with the emergency operations center response, followed by the Rogers Lake Authority capital request. And that may be accurate, but my question is, in terms of the order of the meeting, is it true that, was that the correct order of the discussion?
I think that's what.
I think that's what it was.
You have to do it before you start the other business. You're
Okay,
gonna add an agenda later.
so that is, we got
Well, I don't know.
No.
This meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Then at the end of the third paragraph, the one that begins included in the presentation, with the estimates from Newfield, I'd like to add a sentence reading as follows. Mr. Roberge and Mrs. Greensnyder commented on the reasons this expansion of the Emergency Operations Center, is needed. So I'll just read that again. Mr. Roberge and Mrs. Greensnyder commented on the reasons this expansion of the Emergency Operations Center is needed. Does anybody have any quarrel with that?
Nope. Because that's what
Okay,
happened.
without that,
Yeah.
it just seems a little.
Yeah.
Insufficient that
They made the presentation.
We would like that.
So just at the end of the third paragraph, the paragraph that
Yep.
begins included in the presentation. Any other comments? Then I'll call for a vote, as amended, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Then, go to the financial report. Thank you, Anita, as usual. Do you have any comments that you want to make before I open it to the board? No? So, for others here, anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
Under, capital project funds, is it a problem? That road improvement has spent 772. I know that's well within the budget. I'm on the capital project sheet. Are there plans for any paving this spring?
Yes, there's a second.
Okay, I
Smaller.
guess that's my question. We allocate 800,000 a year. We hope to have some of that money staying and help build the account. To get ready for things like 4 Mile River Road. So,
So last year was building.
Yeah.
And, I know that Ed, and I'm not sure when he's planning on taking this on, but I know that the roads down in Hawks Next definitely need it. He will not do it after Memorial Day. So he may be doing that at this fall project.
the fall project would be next year's
I know.
budget, which would be
Right.
another 800 in there.
So,
Whatever the budget. It's just, I
I'm
bring it up,
sorry, you
as
can't
a,
do it.
you know, more of a comment.
I mean,
Because
it's
we started the
exactly
year,
that.
we started the year with 211,000 in the, almost 212,000 in the budget. Again, trying to build towards the multi-million dollar roads like 4 Mile River Road that are in our future.
I guess my question on that is that back down so low because we've recently done Mile Creek and Sill Lane. Those are two of the bigger roads. They are.
It does wax and wane.
And I don't have I know we put, the schedule was put together of the road.
I would
Yeah,
say-
And I didn't honestly dig that up and look at that.
No, I know.
To see where in the, it's just a question, it's not an overall
No,
concern.
I just, but I do, and I know that Ed has talked to Anita about this, he loves this company that he uses. But and he always says that they give me the state contract rate. But as I have said, we could go out to bid because there are people who will beat the state contract
Yeah.
rate. And I think that he's gonna have to, try that this year, and we'll see where they come in. He already has a price for the roads that he wants to do,
But
Yeah.
we've already spent 90%
Right.
of the budget.
well, he's not gonna be able to do the small roads. Spring.
Well, I mean, if
Unless it's-
required, yeah, and everyone agrees he could, but.
But he has a schedule of what he wants to do every year, right?
He's
So the
not-
question is whether, he's on course with the schedule.
Right.
Or.
Yes, he
beyond.
is,
Yes, he is.
because, when I was doing the budget, I did check that he is doing what he said he would do. So the money that was given to him was enough to cover what he needed to do.
Okay.
He's not exactly, projecting a lot when he does a budget. He tries to stick to the exact same amount that he's been
Yeah.
budgeting
Yeah.
for years, and we
Yeah.
try to explain to him that we have to budget a little bit more.
Or less, it's the need,
Right.
and we
But
have
if
no
you
problem with the need,
Right,
right?
but if you
Yeah.
wanna build up a little bit, don't
Yeah.
go low ball,
Right.
keep it, you know, up.
And I know the cost of the asphalt, depending on petroleum prices can fluctuate.
Mhm.
So, anyway, that was,
We'll tell him we're going out to bid.
my other.
On a good day.
His cousin's gonna be fun.
Under the federal funds, it looks like the banner poles fees, they had a question, I think on that last month. Revenues of $900, that's on the second sheet, that's like that.
Yes, because this one is only, Banner sometimes has a carryover from the year before.
Okay.
Or they bring money in after the fact, but so there's a running total on like an audit paper of what actually is that balance, because this is only showing these current year, from July to now. So it doesn't show you prior, because then we'll throw the numbers out.
Do we break even on posting those?
Yeah.
So we charge 300, it costs us 300.
Well, they keep track of it, but I just keep track that if they gave me so much money, I'd have to look back.
Yeah, we do. That's exactly right. We're breaking them.
Okay,
And Michelle's got a whole year's worth of banners already booked. Solid. They came in like droves right after.
2026 already.
Yeah.
Anybody else before I bore you all?
I got a couple of little things.
Go ahead.
So this is for the special revenue claims section. It's,
Which one?
well, miscellaneous revenue.
Okay,
The waste and recycling committee set up a textile collection. If they stay textiles, so they get a little bit of money.
that's in the general fund. That is not in here.
Okay, because I noticed you put the NIPS are charging now, so I thought.
No, this one is miscellaneous revenue grant, the opioids, it's all of that one. Those types of grant money. This is more or less the grant money, the ARPA money, all of that goes in here. What you get from the Bay State is like $34, so that goes right into general.
Okay, just the account. And then on page 7 of the expenses. What is this, but that's called public works. Down towards the bottom. Vehicle fuel. It looks like they got a big cut. of $9,000.
Right, because every quarter they give me a report and it's broken down into departments. Fire will get charged for their ambulance, will get charged for theirs. Police will get charged for their fuel, but Public Works pays the full bill. And every 3 months we do a quarterly adjustment. And then it comes out of his and it goes into whatever department it belongs to.
We split the tab as they can.
Okay. That's good.
Okay, I'll let you go on that same page up above, under Public Works, Streetlights, Electric and Streetlight Service. There's only 30 some odd percent left. This is a vendor, right? I mean, we're outsourcing this, and my question is whether the vendor is performing and charging us as we expected.
Streetlight electricity, Eversource,
Okay,
and streetlight contracted services, what line? Let me just find it, sorry, I'm doing
well,
it.
it's halfway down total Public Works, line 1010011.
That's the 391.
Streetlight service. That is the one, that is our $391 that we pay to, Tanko every month. However, we had to replace a pole, so also anything when they put a new street light up. So it may be an overage that I know that they had to put a new pole up,
Mhm.
a new light up on the corner of, Smith Neck and 156 after an accident.
Okay, and then the
Insurance
electric,
company back for that?
Well, it wasn't really, the accident, it was Frontier, took the pole down.
Oh, okay.
Decided, yeah, I know, and there has to be a broader conversation with our people at Frontier and Eversource, because we have Frontier poles and Eversource poles in town. And we need to let them know that if they're taking the pole down, the light on the top is fine. We'd like to have it back, but by that time,
Yeah.
it was,
I'd send them a bill.
try that. Anita, you wanna try that? We'll try that.
I mean, there used to be a liaison between Eversource and the towns. You know, after.
No, we have our liaison for Eversource, but this was a Frontier pole. I can have Dave.
Frontier stuff.
Yeah.
On people.
Mm.
They took the town property and disposed of it.
so,
That's
Martha,
it's only hearsay.
the electric is Eversource, we had budgeted 12,000 and we spent 2/3 of it. So is that because we're using more than we thought, or because the rates are higher than we assumed?
Rates are high.
Rates are higher.
We are going to the school, everybody on Line Street. And that's supposed to go out, right? And
Yeah, the public
I
benefit
think we have
addition
it
to
till
the
December
Eversource doing
2025 on the current contract.
Have you paid
This
them?
rate-
But
It's
it's
all
May,
down,
it's
yeah.
supposed to go down,
Is it?
but that's a long time away, so we can't budget.
And the lawnmower is done here.
Mhm.
I know that the Gateway Committee would be happy if we just did dark skies.
So,
With that too.
in the same report, the way the first rate would act on anticipated revenues, the historic district commission is
Can you tell us what page you're on?
one,
Revenues.
Oh, one of the.
yeah. So I guess current period revenues. And I'm a little confused. We didn't budget anything and they collected 10,780, so that's why it's a negative number in that column.
They actually brought in 10,080.
Right. But we
And there was
haven't
nothing
expected-
budgeted.
$10,000.
Huh?
There was nothing budgeted. for
Okay.
it.
But that's a good number, it's a positive number in the sense that we got that. You know where they got the money from? Anybody know?
I don't know.
I will think of
Okay,
Is it? Do they charge for their permit? That's a lot of permits.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Kind of, you get some.
That's the big number for mine.
I need it, we'll check. It could be a,
Then down below, under Rogers Lake reimbursement,
Check the code, too.
under Rogers Lake reimbursement and senior center reimbursement, we have numbers, over 50%. And I assume that's just the timing of billing line. I assume that line continues to pay us for their bills.
Yes, yes. Everything for the senior center is billed monthly. Everything else is billed on a quarterly basis. And I bill them and they normally pay within, by the end of that.
Yeah, no, as long as it's just a timing thing and they're not paying annoying. That's fine.
Although town woods reimbursement. Seems like we've only gotten 25%, and we haven't gotten the second quarter payment yet. Under that same area.
Right. Right.
And which reimbursement is there? Right, because I would have billed in December. I would have billed January, first week of January, so we didn't get the payment, we won't get the payment until the end of the week.
Right.
I actually emailed it over to them and then I sent them a hard copy.
On the top of the next page, the, investment income of 551,000, you just dropped, accidentally the general fund Webster interest. In other words,
Later on the page,
where is it?
right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, shame on me. Okay, that's on the prior page, never mind. And so just to comment, we got a little over $1 million in interest last year and we're on course for over $1.1 million this year.
Once you
It's
invest
a good
something,
thing.
you actually get money.
So,
We didn't do that for a long time. So,
We, right now, we have, over,
interest
like,
rates were-
we have about 38,
yes, but
3.8 million in
2% is
investment.
better than zero.
And the rest I cannot invest without the breaker permission. I can't do it on my own. For the,
so call them.
so I asked him to come by and see me. So we could do something,
No crypto.
no, it would, what I'd like to do is go back to, years ago you had STIP,
Yes.
and they took you away. Somebody withdrew all the money from STIP, and I would like to go back and STIP.
T-bills are fine. So whatever the treasurer comes up with, they're in charge.
Correct, and that's why I'd like to go back into that, because they're rated really well.
On page 4, the balance remaining for insurance is only 38%. And I assume that because we have to pay insurance upfront as opposed to ratably throughout the year. So
Sorry, for which,
For insurance.
insurance
oh, under expenditures, insurance.
at page 4. So we, in other words, we paid over 60%, but I assume that's just a timing of billing issue. And then down below, under harbor management, the harbor master salary, he hasn't billed us at all. And affordable housing down below, they haven't incurred any fees or they haven't billed us, I assume.
They haven't, but they'll probably have to have some legal fees coming up because they have to do that,
Mhm.
transfer the McCulloch, that split the land into two, so they're working on that.
Mhm.
And then as far as to go back to the insurance is due the first of the month. So I normally paid in the previous month, that's why. So then you'll see in June, there will be no payment because then I have to wait until the next year's money.
Yeah, but the important to me is that it's a timing question, not that the premiums are higher than we
No,
anticipated.
no, it has nothing to do with premium. It has to do with, right now, we've already paid in instead of 6 months, 7 months.
Mhm.
And it's just because the due is by the first of the month, the next month. So I'm paying a month in ahead for July, I would pay 2.
Is there a difference between paying upfront? Because there is personally, I know that, and professionally as well. Between paying upfront and paying over time. I mean, it's 5% is basically the difference between a monthly payment versus paying August 1st for the full year. I'm just
For
curious.
the health insurance, or monthly?
For for any insurance.
Oh, for our insurance, they just bill us quarterly. They don't charge us a different, there is no difference in rate if we pay quarterly or yearly.
I think David's asking,
Well,
would we get?
Is there a difference? Is
Would
my
we
question.
I can ask from them.
Yeah, I know,
For health insurance though, isn't that?
The health, no, because that's a month to month. Because if somebody can change it, it drops off. So there is no discount, there is no. to pay
Right.
for.
but property and casualty,
I
typically,
could ask from them.
there's a difference between paying up front and paying over time. And if it's immaterial, it doesn't matter. So,
Yeah, it depends. With my insurance company, they bill me quarterly and there's no savings to pay annually.
so.
Yeah.
And you know,
We're asking
Anita,
professionally, that, I mean, for all of our apartment buildings,
There is a difference.
yeah, and hotels and everything else.
so
It's a
Anita,
5% difference.
I'm just a little worried too, because remember, the senior center is gonna come back online to come. So we haven't been paying for the senior center, and we only have 26% left of that line. And when the senior center comes back on, I'm assuming that the insurance will go up because the building is improved. So we should do some homework on that one together, right?
Just a question for our insurance guys. Yeah.
Although it will come back for only a fraction of the year of the fiscal year. In other words, if it goes live in March or April, we only have a few months.
I know, but we only have 26% of the budget left.
Right, I want the payment left.
Okay, all right, I'm good. But we
Yeah,
are gonna have
And,
6 weeks.
and for the senior center, just thinking about it, liability, we're already paying for.
Right.
So that
The building.
continues. It's only property and casualty that
Okay.
would maybe kick in. So,
Alrighty. So again, just to restate it, the harbor master hasn't apparently submitted any bills.
Right.
Nor has any Rogers Lake Petroleum Watch supervisor.
No, because
they love their craft.
Mark talked about that when he did my budget last time we met last week.
Okay,
That is because I believe they haven't paid him because they didn't do it this year.
so,
There are some changes. Remember, Anita, I don't have my notes from that, but he was online the other day and said that they made a change. You were online, and you were there. Do you remember Mark Hastings talking about that?
I didn't like the top of my head. This isn't Harbor Bank, this is Rogers Lake.
They didn't start to have the right plate, but they did it away with one of their things. And they're doing fine without it, so. I think that's why it's still 100% in there.
okay. Another 100% on case.
Wasn't it because? Frequently, they actually do it every, they don't do it every year, no.
Yeah,
That was the water.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna do it differently last year and contract it or something.
Yeah, I thought that's why, that was a new, I thought that was a new line item. To have a supervisor that actually scheduled the people or something. But obviously it didn't happen.
No. it didn't.
I have a quick question there about the contract services. Is that, Rogers Lake?
Well, there's a lot of things that happened.
It's the plan.
That was the plan.
The claim study.
East Landing too?
Let's have to study the pond line.
These ladies think it's fun.
Whatever happened with the geese problem?
It's a rural country club.
It's no.
Whoever did their job over at Rogers Lake.
They're
did their
gonna, right,
job.
they're doing it a different way.
They have a coyote swamp.
Yeah, I've had those.
I'm actually going to be coming to you for a special appropriation, a small amount of money to do some spring adding of the eggs through the state. Department of,
That's what the goose lady did.
But how did we control the geese last summer?
Again,
How did we control the geese last summer?
well, last summer I came home from New Hampshire and told Don to buy swans. And they worked a little bit, but I'd seen them up in New Hampshire and they worked fantastic.
You
for
mean fake swans, I
the
assume?
fake swans. And, then-
There are actual swans over there.
And, that, and people kept calling Park and Rec saying, do you know there's a family salon? Donna said, "Do you notice they never-" But they did sketch it a little bit, and then, he put up some wool. They're,
Yeah, I
they're
see them
on,
when
they're on a
You drive
string,
by. Yeah.
and they sort of flap in the wind. They're not like a flag, one of those flags, but it works. And, Don would go over and move them around, and it seemed to do the job. So, we're gonna go with that.
Yeah, that Michelle can sell them beach passes. Non-resident.
Next question is on recycling on page 14. We overspent.
Yes.
And I assume we're gonna continue to overspend because the rates have gone up rather than the quantity has gone up.
Yeah, the numbers are up.
So my question is that one, because you're under recycling, right? At
Yeah.
6549. You look under single stream.
That's
That's
curbside
different.
collection.
That's curbside.
That's different, okay, because there's almost exactly a similar amount of money.
This is off the
Oh,
transfer
right.
station.
We do have a revenue stream though for some recycling issues, so you're not seeing the revenue.
Pretty minor.
This is part of the brush, remember the brush that we wanted to, they all recycling all items?
Ed did just go out and get a new brush person. He's going to give us a better rate. And he's going to buy some of the things that we brush up and take it away for landscaping.
Chip it.
Chip it, and then he's gonna take some compost that we've already have down there. And take it and give us, I don't remember what he's giving us per yard, but I think it's a good deal, and it'll clean up. Cause he and John are very much in deep plant, that's fine.
And also, they are requesting, it's gonna go to the board of selectmen to go up on the rate.
Yeah, we're gonna go up to 160 a ton and get relief at a minimum of $8. Drop off. All the other rates will stay the same, mattress, tires, et cetera.
Mattresses are free.
Oh, well,
They're
I'm gonna drop
free.
one there.
Sort of in that same of recycling and stuff.
Mhm.
Is the Sustainable Old Line Committee or any other group working on any ways to encourage people to compost?
We were just talking about that. We only have 3 wonderful members of our waste and recycling committee still available to us. And, we've talked about some ways. I've attended some meetings. I wasn't at the last one. But
We lost Jim Ward, who's an important part of that committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is we need to attract more people to the committee. And also the committee's come up with a little full warning or we'd like to use the MIP money, because we're just hiring a coordinator to help us with figuring all this stuff out because it gets quite detailed. There's things the state's trying to do, which we could tap into, but it just takes time to get involved and the people on the committee are stretched pretty thin.
Yeah.
So the MIP money is about probably close to $30,000 and an idea is for it to come before the board of selectmen. Actually, just we're working on the proposal for a job description and to hire someone for a couple days a week,
Yeah.
15,000-20,000 a year to get us off the ground for a couple of years. You can see that as sort of an investment, see if it works, see if there's an ROI there. Because there are opportunities to reduce waste. But yeah, the committee's just stretched too thin.
These things that go in the trash on a regular basis.
I'll tell you, it's a challenging thing to
Yeah.
do, and the way we're set up with trash in this town, which you just take it out to the curb and get rid of it, and don't think about it. There's little incentive, so there's some things we'll have to discuss here.
And I
Make
have
progress.
a question about that and comment question. In my neighborhood, everybody takes out their trash and recycling every week, except me. I don't fill up these great big tubs every week. So I take them out every other week. And if my experience is shared by others, I mean, I think it's just kind of an automatic habit to take it out every week. But if it's not necessary and people started taking them out every other week, or most people, we wouldn't be able to save any money in the contract because
We just have 1 week where we have low tonnage, the next week we have double tonnage.
Yeah, the contract is pick up everybody's waste, no matter what.
and if they had to stop at half the houses, you don't think that would be savings that they would pass along to us?
They would, the way the contract is structured right now, I know.
Well, that
That's
makes
not the
sense.
case.
That makes sense.
So that may be an opportunity in the future, but.
Well, we have to train the public.
Recycle has to be every other week.
I mean,
Recycle has to be every other week.
Yeah,
Before we had the big cans, I think it was every week. When we had the blue bins,
it was.
it was every other week, right?
Yeah.
But those filled up real quick,
Right.
and so maybe more stuff ended up in the trash.
Yeah, but BJ's, I think overall point, it seems like is like, if you have a light week, we should get credit for that.
Yeah.
If you have a heavy week, totally get it, in offsets, but that's not the way the contract works.
No, and I suppose the way to deal with it isn't to argue with the folks who collect the trash and
We don't
have forgotten,
want them picking it up.
but rather to try to, convey to the public, why buy, I've got one driveway, so it's annoying to me to walk out. But in any
Don't
event,
order Amazon. That's all you gotta do. I mean, it's crazy. Everybody loves Amazon.
that's like,
Oh, the box.
It doesn't matter. It goes to the same place.
well, I'm the same in terms of pickup.
Well, not really, it's all the plastic packages from Amazon, I drop off in Stop and Shop in Big Y in the plastic recycling center.
And it goes to the same place.
Now it goes to Trex.
Where is that in China? Or is that here in America?
It's here in America.
Right, exactly. That's
Because
my
then they
point.
build all the bread sheet, all the stuff from Trex, for their trucks.
It doesn't matter. Don't order Amazon 3 times a week is my point, right? So, as much as you, may try, it doesn't matter. People's waste has gone up tenfold in the last 20 years. I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on. So,
Well,
I can tell you it's been stable in this fact for the last 3 years. Hasn't changed at
who
all.
takes the bills every month?
I've been monitoring the waste monthly.
you know why? Because if you look 10 years ago,
Well-
and compare it to 10 years ago, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
So the last
you're right.
3 years, you're talking about 2021,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right? I mean, that's COVID. So that's not the right way
I
to
understand
measure.
it doesn't.
So everyone should be encouraged to not order Amazon.
I think that,
But anybody else know?
We had a vote on that.
would you like to come and do a lesson with me on?
You should join the waste recycling committee. You'd be good for that.
I order Amazon once every 2 months at the most, and it's only because of one book. Anyway,
Yeah, my final question is simply the reimbursement for the senior center renovations. It was confusing to me. This is on the special
Yeah,
revenue
special.
funds. It was unclear to me whether the revenue side of this includes reimbursements from line.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
If you look at the top. If you look on the top part, where it says there's
it's the end.
reimbursement,
So there's really 160.
no, no, that one.
there's
All
a
right, no, no, no.
reimbursement grant of 633.
But it has, yeah, reimbursement,
Well, so my subordinate question is, have we gotten the 500,000 back from the state yet? If the answer is no, and this 633 is line, that answers my question.
we have not gotten the state money back,
Okay.
we had to put in so much money. Before we can get the 500, it was just the original paperwork that we submitted said we were gonna spend this amount of money, and they were gonna give us the 5. So we have just reached that 3 million, on our side. I'm waiting for a couple more canceled checks to come back because I have made copies of every single invoice, every single check, every single cash check. And you send it all in a nice little package to them with a spreadsheet and all these other forms filled out. And then you submit it to the state.
Okay.
Venmo?
So they're
I'm
pretty
waiting
current,
for a
line is
couple-
pretty current reimbursements.
Well, yeah, no, mine is very good. I also, the spreadsheet I'm doing is also, mine's gonna use it because 75 is up. 25 is done. So yes, and, the copies I sent in, they're gonna use, if we, we'll take,
But they're good payers to
yeah, but they
BJ's.
pay us, so.
Point, right?
Yeah, but they're probably not AAA. They probably are AAA. That's it for me. Is anybody else?
Recycling and, composting, are we part of Star?
No,
Is that the, okay,
there's different towns, set of towns.
different other towns, okay, because I know they used to, years ago, they used to sell at a reduced price composting bins.
Yeah, they have
and
the
they had
composting
events.
program going, actually.
Yeah.
That was
That's happening.
one of the things, so when we lived in Hampshire, the town that we lived in, every spring, there was a like, order your compost in from the town. And you pay $40 or something, you get a big, one of the big ones that you would pay,
100,
yeah.
yeah.
And it really, they get a couple hundred people every year who order compost bins, and you could order like 100 sink bins, so that you keep all your scraps in that. It was just a way to sort of get people set up to start getting.
I know
more of
Star
their
used to do that.
scraps.
They used to do regional events.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think they do some,
Not really.
there was an education session you could go to that like what you put in compost, what you should put in compost.
And the skunk and the raccoon
How to
Right.
manage
budget
that.
went up.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
No, it's New Hampshire, we had
The
theirs.
bears, right.
anyway, I just-
I drop off all my fruits and vegetable scraps up at the
At the barn,
at the farm. I mean, not the farm. I know I do the town woods, at town woods at the
at the,
garden.
yeah.
I go
Because I
up
know
there.
the schools
just
take
do
a
it
lot
in
of
the
the
big
scraps to farms.
Well, no, the household collection, it's $1 million. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
600,000 events run the trucks around for like that.
Right.
So you start to, what you're talking about,
Encourage people to compost.
just doing things around the edges a little bit.
We
What you really
looked
need to do is not see substantial material change, just change the system somehow.
Before Mary,
That's tricky.
And it's volume, it's not weight. It is volume that makes the difference.
Yeah.
So
We're charged by the weight.
Charged by the ton.
I understand, but the actual practical situation is volume. And so cardboard and plastic and everything else that goes into, what you're talking about for compost, if you didn't have a plastic bag, that goes away in like 3 months. right?
Yeah.
Right.
Everything else takes years to go away,
Right.
including cardboard.
But we pay by the ton.
I understand the economics. I'm just talking about the practical,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
let's be good to the environment. So, I compost and I do all that stuff. Does not make a difference. Amazon makes a difference. So much.
we're not gonna monitor how many times it's on your street. All right.
All right.
We did-
Any other questions?
I do want to come back
for Anita?
Yeah, well, a little bit for Anita, but then back to the whole group of us. On page 14, the budget for the gazebo. And so we spent some money on that already?
Yeah, with something,
Where is it?
It's on capital outlay, general government, it's the second to the last one. This is the white. sands gazebo.
Yes, White Sands Beach. The engineers have been down there. They had to do engineering. And that's what we've been spending it on at Fred.
Okay,
So,
I just think we budgeted too much money for that. I wonder if we could
Well,
get ahead of it.
Brett,
We-
we want to come in under budget and it looks like we will. But
okay.
they're going out to get costs right now for pouring the concrete.
Right.
So once that comes in, then, and they're actually going to include the structure bid at the same time. So that you're building the structure after you pour the concrete. So I know that Eric Olson was down there with the engineers just
Okay.
last week. And they were having a little, communication issue. And so they've got to switch them up, but Eric is sure that it's gonna come in under budget
When is that
It's-
scheduled for?
pretty soon because it's gonna be up by Memorial Day.
I mean, it always struck me like it was a very generous amount to allocate for that. And I asked somebody to get a quote for what's the company that builds,
Concrete
that builds.
foundation. And being on the beach and so it doesn't get washed away, I think it's gotta go down.
It's 6 feet.
That's
or
the
something.
biggest thing, because,
Concrete goes down 6 feet.
yeah, if you go
Otherwise,
to
it would
Knotwood
be
or
in the
whatever.
parking lot after the first storm. That's
Yeah,
what
if you go to Knotwood or something, it's a prefab type of thing. It's all about the structure underneath. It. How it makes a difference, yeah.
Okay. This has been kicked around for at least 10 years. By the Board of Finance,
Oh, okay. I just, was
I mean, and Park and Rec and everybody else. I mean, this issue.
Yeah.
Is that gazebo's been repaired and, you know, hit pretty good over the years. I was surprised it lasted as long as it did. As it was. I mean, the boards got popped up on it one time, one of the storms. So.
I guess I just haven't got used to new construction costs, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Foundations
painful.
out to the,
Very.
ground. Any other
Okay, thanks.
comments, questions? Then the next item is the Board of Finance budget meeting schedule.
I'll vote to approve it.
I thought we already approved our meeting schedule for the year.
You did?
Last month we did, right?
Well, I
It
think
was
what you,
presented, I thought.
the dates were presented. I think what BJ's saying is looking at what you're covering each week.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I
We
think
never voted on the dates.
both people are right.
Voted on, we never-
That, and
It was presented last meeting.
Yeah,
It wasn't voted upon.
Right.
yeah, or 2 meetings ago, whenever I wasn't here, whenever it's presented.
This is the breakdown. Oh, right. You did the dates.
We approved the date,
Gotcha.
but this is essential.
You did.
Well,
I don't know that we need an approval.
We have the actual.
I would agree with Dave that it was presented, but I understand it wasn't voted on.
Michelle, do you have it as it was voted on, the dates?
Not in the minutes.
The dates were voted.
The dates were voted on.
In any event, somebody, and I don't remember whom, and I wouldn't identify them anyway, thought that it would be useful to formally vote on them, and that's fine with me. I do think that they should be posted on our website so that folks, are on notice if they wanna come when their item is up for discussion.
PJ, I would suggest that they're draft if they're posted, right?
Well, we have the discretion to change it, if that's what you mean,
Yeah, but
or tentative. Like a tentative schedule.
whatever, the phrases that you'd like to use, but not to get locked into any of this stuff, because some people may see it as a special meeting. My goodness.
Well, it's not a special meeting, it's the regular meetings of the Board of Finance.
I understand, but this is, if we were to vote on it tonight, people would view this as potentially, they would view this as an agenda, right? So we want the flexibility. We voted on the meeting schedule itself. And so the agenda, this is suggested, it's draft, it's preliminary, that sort of thing.
So you're saying, so that the agenda for each of these meetings will be posted at the regular time and would have actually what's gonna be discussed.
That's what I'm suggesting. That's,
Not now.
yeah,
Because things change.
that's what we've done in the
Yeah.
past.
I mean, we've had people that haven't been ready
Yes,
and have asked me, or a conflict comes up, they ask me to push to the next week or 2 weeks out.
right.
So if somebody's interested in LYSB, they're gonna come here on February 4th. Well, Mary may not be ready on February 4th, or we may not be ready for her.
Yes,
Right,
It's on February 25th.
yeah.
well, yeah, that's
So normally what,
that's all correct. But I think nevertheless, we should post on the website a tentative schedule with the admonition that you should check the week in advance for the final schedule.
For the agenda.
Agenda.
For the agenda, yeah.
the only thing is people like Mary and some of the other groups that come in, I send them an email and tell them they're on the schedule for this week.
And that's great.
And Anita and I check base to make sure that she's already got their budget and that everything's in. And Jim and Jude and I are going to finish up next Monday, reviewing everything. And, go from there. But I can already tell you on this one, that the private beach associations would like to have a conversation about the formula.
But
At
from a
the board-
process.
At the Board of Finance or with the Board of Selectmen?
They would like, I suggested you and I have that because you have knowledge of when you did it and Anita, the three of us.
Absolutely, but do it before the Board of Finance meeting.
I'm gonna try, but I have it on my list
You know,
to talk to
they've
you
been
tonight
talking
about.
to me about it for 17 years.
Yes, I
you
know.
know.
Well, they've got a new plan, so we'll
Okay,
see what's going on.
So it doesn't feel like there's action required.
I'm indifferent as a legal
We-
matter.
We've approved
The days.
the dates.
So we've approved the dates with the heading like public safety boards and commissions, is that what you mean?
I don't think so.
No, we've
just
approved the
approved
dates.
the dates.
Well, no. So you're saying we've approved the dates for the Board of Finance meeting,
Correct.
but we haven't approved the schedule for the budget hearings.
That's right.
All right, so the question is, should we formally approve them by a vote or not? You know, what kind of difference does it make? As a practical matter, I do want you folks to look at this and see whether you think any of these meetings are overloaded, which is really the main concern. We don't want to have a 4-hour meeting one week and then
I mean,
Two
it's
hour
similar to
meetings.
historical. I haven't compared it to the last like 2 years to see whether we've got like craziness going on, but I doubt it.
I would think it would be DJ, you and Martha, who have met with the majority of these people already. I mean, I attended one of the meetings, but you would have an idea, is there going to be a lot to discuss at the Board of Finance based on how much time it took in those preliminary meetings? Similar to what we used to do with specialists. You kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
Are there major changes in the budget? Is it, your normal increases, or is there something special that this group or organization or committee or department is asking for that might warrant half an hour discussion with them?
Well,
And if you see some potential in that, then you might want to adjust them.
So- can I just ask Andy, can I just ask you a question? I know you're gonna be away for some time in February. Is there a group, I mean, I know you are very involved you've always been involved in the fire department budget. You're also involved in IT. So are those two budgets that you'd like to see so that we wouldn't schedule them while you're away?
The fire is scheduled when I'm away. And I haven't had any, are you scheduled then for a meeting at all?
They're actually coming in. I just sent out to Mike to see if he could do this Thursday night or next Thursday night. Because they asked for an evening.
Yeah.
So Jim is available to come in by Teams yet either of those evenings. So I asked for the ambulance and the fire department because Dave Musto also has a conflict during the days. So as soon as I get an email back from Mike and I will.
Let me know, I'd like to participate in that if I can, but,
BJ, a question. So looking at this, let's put the approval aside. Practically, is this pretty much the cadence that we have always done?
Well, I think Michelle is probably the person now on that. Michelle, do you just copy this from last year?
Some of it, it was really mixed last year, when people came in late and it.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's,
It was all over the place, so this sort of groups them in categories that make more sense.
It comes in accounting categories, I agree with that.
but time is the issue, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if you have some easy approvals.
Yeah.
You want to mix those in with some longer conversation. That's
that's
what we've done before.
From,
Yeah.
So BJ, could Anita and I have a day to just go over this?
Yeah, that would be
briefly?
wonderful.
And then-
And frankly, the only one that kind of raises my question is the question, an answer is boards and commissions.
Yeah.
Are we really gonna get through all of these before midnight?
You may not have put on the 25th.
Yeah.
They're pretty.
There's only,
finance,
out of this group,
WPC.
Well, but I applaud.
It has grown. WPCA could be a big conversation.
Park and Rec.
Yeah, Park and Rec.
And the ethics commission will take hours. But Martha, I agree that you and Anita would take an hour or two to rethink this, and if you have any,
Like Park and Rec, I know that Bob Dunn is away for a while, so he's not.
But Roger Lake likes to show up, and that's
Yeah.
20 minutes, and then you've got sound review, and so Frank will show up, and that's 20 minutes, you know?
well, I think it's
Well,
nice for
you know
people to
what?
just go
Do you
on.
mind? Do you mind if they just Teams link in?
Oh,
No,
I don't care about
I
that.
just think that it, you know, like somebody like Frank, he doesn't have to drive down here. He can just do it from his office. I mean,
But if you've met with most of these folks, Martha.
I know that.
And the selectmen know what's gonna take time and what's not.
yes, we do.
And we're not approving, to BJ's point, I think we post it as a draft. And then go from there, because that's.
But I would put something
basically
to
done.
check the webpage for 3 days, 4 days before the meeting for the actual agenda.
Yeah.
Because
right, well, again.
We're gonna
I don't
plan
care
a real
about the
easy one for
formalities, but I
February
think, Martha, when you and Anita are happy with it, just post it as a preliminary tentative.
Yeah.
This is the current schedule, check 2 weeks in advance on the actual agenda.
Okay, so I just want you to know that I'm out for emergency management training for the next 2 days, so we're not gonna get to this until Friday. Just so you know.
No rush.
Yeah, that's fine, because we're not gonna meet until February 4th, when it's too late. Okay, so next is, other business. Anybody have any other business?
Get through the rest of the 3 items quickly.
Hearing none. This is for select woman.
Okay. So Swanbrook Sluice Way is almost complete. The 3 walls are up. I'm not sure if the rounded corner is in place, but I'm told they hope to finish up this week. They've saved the coldest week of the year to do that. And if you've not been down, please stop by and pay a visit. It is very impressive, and I don't think it's going anywhere. Knock on wood.
Hubris of
Knock on wood.
Hubris of
I will say that there are also some special appropriations coming your way. And this has to do with the beaches. It's going to be for swim lines and new moorings for those swim lines. We need to be ready for the summer season. So Matt Lynch has gone down. He has done, sort of a just get rid of pile and keep pile chains that he knows that they can relink and use again. He's doing that for us. I told him not to throw anything away until we just sort of all eyed it to make sure. But as you know, most of the things that Harry had supplied us with in the last year or two were pool lines, and the salt water just deteriorated some of those things a lot. So we'll be using a different type of mooring this year. It'll be a pyramid style mooring. We'll be getting rid of the mushroom caps because those are dangerous if kids are diving in or anything like that. So something that's more appropriate for the swim markers. And they may only be using swim markers at White Sands Beach. They may not be putting in the swim lines, just using the markers because they don't really have an issue with boats or anything going in. And they might do one line just going out along the causeway there. And also Matt Lynch is going to put together a bid package for someone to put in our swim lines this year. Last year we had to use Scott Mitchell because it was the only option that we had because it was so late in the game. But we're going to go out to bid. He knows a couple of companies that are interested and we'll see what we come back with for that. Budget review is well underway. We have one more review session coming up on January 27th. We'll get an agenda out for that on Friday. Also, the salary committees had one meeting, meet again, hopefully, when Andy comes back. Or no, we're gonna try to do it one more time before he leaves. And Anita's currently working on 2 spreadsheets for that committee to use. So we'll have those projected numbers. Senior Center is anticipated to be complete by March 19th. We're under budget, and that includes the renovated kitchen. that was approved last year.
With that, have you heard back from the furniture vendor?
That was my next sentence. Furniture should be ordered this week. We're just awaiting an updated quote because we did do some changes on a fabric change. We wanted something a little bit more durable. So point one, worked with Strategic Solutions to upgrade to a different fabric. And we're waiting for Global to come back with the quote to Strategic Solutions. And that'll be done. And we're well under budget for what we budgeted for furniture. Also, just so you know, Dave Roberge has been big on the Firewell project. So they've got their total list of the water supply locations. They met today with the engineering group. There's 94 prospective locations in town of various sources of water, including rivers, streams, ponds, lakes, and existing cisterns and underground storage tanks. And of those 94, though, only 26 are located on town land. So the other 70 are going to have to require easements from a basic easement if we need to get to the water supply on that land.
Those are all ones the fire department put
Yeah,
signs up a few years ago
yeah,
with numbers, like coming into our neighborhood, there's a big W.
Yep.
I don't know how, it was a large number, because it's a lot of money for signs. They did it, they put the signs out themselves.
Well, this was part of this project.
Okay, so
that
this
was the
is
first
looking at
part.
those locations.
That's the first
or
part.
what, how much water is there?
The next part,
In our neighborhood was bone dry 3 weeks ago.
but so that project, I thought identified everything the fire department needed, right?
Well, it identified the location, so they knew, and that was for insurance purposes. That's
Right.
Part of
Yep,
our helping. This is to identify how much water is actually in them.
this is the HTO.
Fire department,
no, it sounds like it's a big legal thing.
No, it's not a big legal thing. It's
So,
big-
but you just said 26 out of 90, let's say,
But
are
Dave,
in town.
there'll be a basic easement, and it'll be for fire purposes only. It's not gonna be like they're going to have to.
No, I understand that, but the purpose though, I'm talking just practically, right? We've identified where the water is if we have a fire. Is that not the case?
He just said in his thing, he said there's 94 locations prospective. They haven't checked them all out, but they know
So
there's
of those
94.
94, do they all have the W that we did 4 years ago or 5 years ago?
I don't remember how many they did, but that's.
They did a
that's pretty
bunch.
Close.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be,
I don't think we have 94 signs up.
Hmm?
I don't think we have 94 signs up.
I would check with the fire department who did it,
I will, but I know
Yeah.
that Dave is involved in this as well.
but he wasn't involved in that part of it.
Yeah, Dave,
Okay, okay.
Dave is divorced sometimes from conversations,
But this
so.
is part of his project, the HTO that you guys have been looking at and the carryover.
Right.
He's trying to work on through this, and this is part of what it is. So Jacobson.
I know, I'm just saying, we spent a bunch of money identifying these areas. So if you're going off of just Dave, the question is, have we talked to the fire department that we identified a whole bunch of W signs all around?
Right, I think the
town?
purpose is to get the easements, right? That's the purpose. of
Part
doing
of
this.
it was-
It's to know how much water is there too.
So if I can finish, maybe I'll answer your questions, because I've got 3 more paragraphs to read that he gave me.
Go
So
ahead.
let's see if I've got any.
Who, Roberge gave
Yes.
you or the fire department?
He gave me what he's doing, and I will check with him, but if there's the Old Line Fire
Check with the
Department.
fire department.
Excuse me, Dave, the fire department is mentioned in almost every paragraph, so
Okay,
let's
all right.
just, let me finish.
Sure.
It's believed that the current list that we have was a variation of past verbal agreements between the Old Line Fire Department and property owners on the potential use. And remember, it could have been a current property owner at that time, those properties may have been sold, and we have to update. In order to quantify the potential legal use and capabilities of those 94 locations, a field study is being performed by Jacobson and Associates to qualify these locations in accordance with the NFPA 1142 document, which establishes a standard for water supplies for suburban and rural firefighting. The potential for complying to this standard will assist in future insurance service fire suppression rating schedules as they develop a public protection classification for property insurance ratings for the community. Moving forward, the results of Jacobson and Associates study will aid the Old Lyme Fire Department in determining which water supplies are the most useful and which would need to be entered into an agreement of use with the private property owners. So not all 96. Currently, this office is working with both Jacobson and Associates on refining the field study information and with Sussman and Shapiro in drafting an acceptable MOU that can be implemented with private property owners. Additionally, the Old Lyme Fire Department will resume field testing of existing water supplies this spring to validate existing use, function, and accessibility of town and state-owned water sources. Funding for the field study is from a capital carryover fiscal year 21-22, and the proposed drafting of an MOU will be funded by the capital carryover for fiscal year 22-23. As a result of these two activities being completed this spring, the goal for fiscal year 25-26 would be include the implementation of a formal MOU agreements with some of the best suited private property owners and to begin funding as identified within this year's fire marshal budget request and implementing a maintenance schedule for qualified water supply locations to best serve the needs of the Old Lyme Fire Department for aiding in their fire suppression activities.
A concern is fire department did their signage as part of the requirement to keep our homeowner insurance rates lower. That was based on identifying the signs that went up and their inventory of where they were. This sounds like it's going further, which is nothing wrong with that, but hopefully it doesn't identify weaknesses that will then have us lose our certification.
I do not think that is the goal of
No,
this.
no, I know it's not the goal, but sometimes more information is,
Well, but it's a double-edged sword, right? It might make the insurance rates go up, but we don't want the fire department seeking water to put out a fire and find the water isn't there, right? So we need the accurate information and
but I think the
presumably,
fire department, to David's point before, the fire department should be intimately involved in this discussion.
Okay, well, let's put it-
They're the ones who are out there.
right,
I
They live
will,
in our community.
I'm going to be meeting with Mike McCarthy on Thursday night.
Great.
I will ask him if he knows anything about this and
Sure.
how he feels.
That'd be good.
but at the end of the day, I assume the goal is to have W signs put up wherever there is a viable source of
They already
water.
And
They
an
already
MOU,
are.
and
Well, but I
don't think
they're
in
not
private
at all
property they are.
locations
I don't
where they
think
wanna
the
be.
private property ones
Our
are. Do
neighborhood is private property.
Yeah.
It's our street.
you have an MOU?
We have one too.
There you go.
When you say
That's
MOU
They
though,
can use whatever they want.
MOU is.
Don't, my house is on fire.
Yeah,
Please don't use the water by the W
So we need
sign.
an MOU for that.
This,
Well, but
Guys, I'll get the answers. We could
Yeah.
talk about this for 7 hours,
Yeah.
but let's not. And I'll get you answers and we'll move on.
as my comment is, you referred to earlier an easement and secondly, an MOU.
So
If
I
an
was,
MOU is merely an agreement between the current property owner, that's no good. You do want an easement that's recorded on the land records, so it will pass from property owner to a successor.
that's why Sussman and Shapiro is involved in
Good.
working out, and I'm sure that they will provide us with the,
Very profitably, they will provide us $1,500 every easement, so. Yep.
Well, there should just be a form of easement and then we can go and get the signature.
It's
That's right,
strange this is
we will.
coming up now, but whatever.
I'll get you more information. And
I
not
thought when
only
all
that,
the
but when you
W's
do
went
the
up, it was
budget,
all
you
good.
can question it for another 2 hours.
It seems like there should be a good Samaritan clause or something. Just available when it's in, something like that.
Yeah, but Fred, we've been through this a lot, and so this is kind of a random thing coming up.
Now, I recall when the signs went up initially, I
Yeah.
sent a letter to you, why are we doing this?
Yeah. Please don't come,
Last-
please don't come
last-
to my swimming pool.
And last year, during the fire marshal's budget, you quizzed him extensively about this H2O project, and he told you he'd get on it. So you sat there last year quizzing him, when are you gonna finish this? When are you gonna get it done? Now he's working on it, and now you're questioning whether he should be doing it. Because it was in the carryovers last year, so when you did it, you quizzed him. He gave you answers, you told him to get on it and get it done. Now he's getting it done, now you're questioning why he's doing it.
It's fine. But Dave Roberge is not the scion of clarity, by the way, so.
Well, depending on what he's doing and for who.
And I would observe if Sussman Shapiro is involved, love them as our town attorneys, right? So it's keeping that firm very well, capitalized, but it's $1,500 an easement. So if we have 50 easements, I mean, it's more work for them.
It is not 1,500 an easement because I just did one with them for Hawks Nest Beach and it is nowhere near $1,500.
Yeah, okay, so we shall see. This is another Dave Robert's project over 5 years, et cetera, et cetera. The W's is all I care about, so.
Thank you, ma'am.
Important for.
Is that the end of your report?
I'm done.
Yeah, if the fire department has no problem with it, I'm good with it. If Dave Robert says it without talking to the fire department, I have a problem with that.
Okay, got it. I heard you loud and clear.
Yep, so school budget, do we have an estimate for the school budget or no? Pardon? Tomorrow,
The next meeting for the second part is
All right.
tomorrow night.
And that-
Or
And that's this.
the real operating budget for the
Yeah,
big stuff.
And anybody who has time and patience should go to the meeting. I'm not able to, but.
well, there's only one thing, it's debt service, and that's it for the $57 million project
So
for
that's a
1,200
principal
kids.
thing.
That's it. Tubas are not gonna make a difference over there, but anyway.
Yeah, my recollection at the meeting we were at, the monthly meeting, I think Ian said that they were going out for bids for the Mile Creek renovations. They, they had locked in the main stuff, but he didn't have a firm number for Mile Creek yet. But, we're locked into the maximum amount that can be spent.
Well, yeah,
And,
some buildings, I think they should have some
They
money.
got some of the bids in, Mile Creek, which came in under budget. They're waiting for a couple more bids.
Right?
So Mile Creek, the bids were more favorable for that than they were for the other three schools. But
Is this
getting,
a Mount Creek addition and not seriously putting value with the single? Or,
It's Mile
the
Creek.
whole thing is one project.
okay, so Mount Creek, okay, it's all one project.
The addition,
And,
HVAC.
air conditioning and the security area. The savings at both Mile Creek and One Consolidated is not sprinkling the schools.
That's not savings, that reducing
You're
the
right.
scope.
Say it reduced the scope, because both were $1.5 million for the tank in the ground and the pumps and the generators necessary to run. But
So the cost is the same, but we've reduced our scope.
well, we didn't really, we had to put in a fire suppression system. We're just not using sprinklers. It's what we did at the senior center as well. We took out. the
Are we
sprinklers.
getting the same number of apples that we agreed upon? Or no?
What do you mean?
If you pay $10 for 10 apples, and then you say, we can only, there's only 8
Apples have
apples.
gone up in price.
But we are still at $10. That's great. So
Well, but
that's what's going on. And by the way, the number of kids that was previewed was 1,640 kids for approving this budget. We are now 33 kids less than last year right now.
But your elementary numbers are going up.
We shall see. The 1,640 went out to the community to approve the $57 million. So anyway, tomorrow night, we'll see what happens, but.
But I think the answer to your question is that, at least with respect to the senior center, they're using a different fire suppression system than originally contemplated, but that is still deemed to be adequate both as a practical matter and as a building code matter.
They also had a fireplace that we don't have anymore.
No, we have one.
Uh,
We had 2.
Okay. You just proved my point. So you had 2 fireplaces, now you only have 1, but you're still on budget. That reduces the scope, Martha.
We reduced the budget too.
Yeah, a tiny bit, not enough to make a difference. So anyway, we shall see. 57 million bucks. Great thing. I'm pretty sure taxes are gonna go up 15% for the average person. Plus the crazy reval for folks that I can afford, but a lot of people can't, so. 2,200 people, their taxes are gonna go up 10% based on nothing.
When do we get the new grant list?
That Melinda should be signing the grand list this week.
Oh, that'd be interesting to see that.
You can go on CT Examiner and just see in your neighborhood whose taxes went up and whose didn't.
No, I'm just curious about the total, what the actual
The
grant.
assessment was the taxes. We don't know what the taxes.
62, they are gonna go up.
That's the reason. why
Diane,
we need the
at
grant.
62%, taxes remain the same, right? If you're above 62%, your taxes are going up. If you're below 62% in terms of your assessment increase, your taxes go down.
Right. Based on the reval, I mean, that's absolutely correct. Separate and apart from that, we don't know what the budget's gonna be and what that's gonna do
But,
to
right,
taxes, but
It ain't going down.
well, no, but we will use the undesignated fund to subsidize the tax burden.
That's true.
And hopefully the Board of Education uses some of their undesignated fund.
Oh, no,
It's all
we
from the
need
tax
more lights and seats for, everything, so.
Anybody want to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay.
Good stuff.